All right, our story, part 1, 30 minutes.
I want to hear from you, though.
So I'm going to go back to as far as I can, 12 years ago. I was, I was 14. No, I'm sorry, 15. I was 15 and I was hanging out with one of my really good friends at the time. Her name was Sydney Gustus, and we were at her house and we were just doing what girls do when they hang out, and that was laying on our bed talking about boys and talking about sports because we played basketball together, and how we were going to invite a lot of our friends over to play cops and robbers. And she was like, okay, well, let's find something to do in the meantime. So she remembered that one of her coaches,
Will?
yes, Coach Will, had basketball practice at like this big, huge house. It was huge. It was a huge mansion, and I believe it was the Coyotes owner's house.
Swift.
And she's like, hey, let's go up there. We can go shoot around and just, kill time. And I was totally about it. I was like, yep, anything that involved basketball, I was totally in it. I was like, yes, let's go. We hopped on bikes and like cute little cruiser bikes. And she lived literally maybe 3 blocks away. And we rode up there and...
You rode on bikes up there?
Mm-hmm. Yep, we sure did. We rode bikes because, she was a year older than me, so she had her license, but we didn't drive because it was right around the corner. There was no point. So we rode on our bikes and we went up to the basketball practice. And when we first got there, we're like, so should we go to the front door and knock and say, hey, we're here to shoot around? But she's like, no, let's just go around back and we'll just call Will. And I think she ended up texting him right when we got there, and he said something about, no, just come around back and go ahead and like warm up or start shooting around. We'll be out there. And we go out there, we're starting shooting around, we're doing like full court, literally like full court layups, like full sprint. And then we're on the north side of the basketball court and I'm shooting free throws. And then all of a sudden I just hear this huge rumble of just guys yelling and talking and running. And I see all these guys just coming around from like the pool area, and they're in basketball shorts and they have their basketballs and like they're doing like their warm up. And the funny thing is that when we were going to this basketball practice, one of my ex-boyfriends was on this team. So I was going up there just to kind of show face and kind of just whatever I was doing. I just felt some type of way when you have an ex-boyfriend and you're going up there and you're trying to show off. So that's what I did. And so basically I was there to see another guy, but I ended up seeing PJ. And I just remember him running around the basketball court, warming up. They were doing laps, and he instantly caught my eye. He had braids, going back.
Headband.
Yeah, I don't remember a headband. Stop interrupting.
We'll have to jump in as well. Like if you're gonna.
He had braids. He had a cutoff shirt and some basketball shorts, and instantly we caught each other's eyes. And mind you, I'm 7 months older than PJ, so I didn't know that, but just so you guys know. I just remember seeing him and I was locked onto him. I knew, oh my goodness, he is so cute. And that's when I knew for sure that I was going to show off all my basketball skills as much as I could. And every time he would come half court, and every time he would do something, I was always looking at him, and I always caught his eye looking back at me. And it was like that awkward like look that you guys give each other, like when you know somebody sees you and they're checking you out, but you're trying to like not really make eye contact with them, and it gets awkward because you're looking at each other so many times and then you look away really fast. I just remember just being like, oh my goodness, he is so cute. I want his number. I want to talk to him. Instant attraction for sure. And then basketball practice was over, and Sydney and I ended up getting on our bikes and going back to her house. And I remember telling Sydney at the time, I was like, there's this really cute boy that was there, and I described to her like what he looked like, and she's like, yeah, that's PJ. And I was like, oh, okay. And time goes by, and I feel like a lot of time didn't go by. I literally feel like that night he contacted me, but I know it was like months later.
Can I share my side in that part?
Yes.
Okay. So all of that happened, which was like really, really funny. And for me, when we were at basketball practice, one of my good friends, John, the dude that she was coming to see, like I had no idea that they had even known each other. I just knew that she was friends with Sydney. And I remember distinctly how I was working out in the gym that was at the house, and I remember looking through the little like screen door or whatever, and I had saw a girl. I didn't know what she looked like or anything like that, but I was like, okay, I know for me as a dude, if I see a female and coach is calling us to go from one spot to another, I'm gonna be the last person out, because I know the last person out is probably gonna get the best look. You know, you get to take your time.
Oh my God.
And so I remember stepping out, I'm all sweaty and stuff, but I walk out and I see like her feet, her shoes, and I just like stopped and I just slowly looked up until I saw her, and we caught eye level, and I was like, damn. I was like, she's bad. But I didn't say nothing. I just kind of like.
And he's 14.
Yeah. Well, in my head, I was like, dang. I was like, she's bad. And so I remember after practice, I was like, who is that? And then my boy was like, oh, it's Jessica, dude. This. And I'm like, bro. It's like, bro, I need to get her number. He was like, I don't know, you know, this and that. I'm like, no, seriously, do you have her number? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, let me get it. And yeah, I ended up getting her number. And I don't think that I didn't message you like right then and there.
Mm-mm.
We waited a while.
Yeah, I think it was like 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. So it was about
2 weeks when he got my number, and then he decided to reach out.
Yeah. So for me, you'll hear it from me because it was different how it came off from her. But for me, this was in the time that my sister had just won American Idol, and you know everything was hitting us. Like the whole new lifestyle started to change, started to shift. And I had reached out to her and I was like, hey, what's up? This is PJ. And was trying to explain to myself of who I was, because she didn't remember by me texting. So then at that point, because I was trying to get her to remember who I was like, this is, you know, PJ, this is Jordan Sparks' little brother. And she took that as what?
I was like, and? Like, okay.
Which I didn't care. But if somebody doesn't know who you are, like if my last name was Presley, right? And somebody's like, well, who are you? This, that, and you're like, well, I'm so-and-so. Okay, well, who are you? Like, where are you from? Like, who's your family? Well, my dad is Elvis Presley. It doesn't matter that they care or not. It's the simple fact, like, that's what you have to say, because then it kind of like connects the dots. That's
moving
fun.
on, 2 weeks later, he messages me, or no, he calls me, and I'm heading home on 51st Avenue and Thunderbird. I am in the turn lane getting ready to head north, and I'm in the back seat behind my mom, and my brother's in the front seat, and I get a phone call on my Nokia phone, and it was pink, and it had like this little light up antenna and like a little basketball charm on it, and my numbers on it lit up like all different colors when I texted, and it was like a translucent pink cell phone case front and back. It was so cute. It rang, and I didn't know who it was. We were heading home from the grocery store, and I answered, and he introduced himself and was like, "Hey, this is PJ. I got your number from John." And I was like, "Who?" And he's like, PJ Sparks, Jordan Sparks' little brother." And I was like, "Who?" and he's like, "Yeah, the winner from American Idol." And instantly, when he said all that, I still didn't know what he was talking about. I was so busy with club basketball and high school basketball and all my friends and all high school boys at my high school at Greenway, that nothing that was happening in the world, like American Idol, I didn't watch any of it. I was just so busy. And when he said that, I thought he was trying to use it as like a pickup line, and I was like totally turned off by it, and I was just like, okay, this is ridiculous. This is not how I would expect a guy to just talk to me. But he introduced himself, and he said, "Yeah, let's talk. Let's hang out soon." And the phone call was really quick, but when I hung up and I agreed to hang out and to just talk to him and stuff like that, I got super excited, because after he hung up the phone, he started sending me pictures to kind of refresh my memory. And these pictures that he sent me...
What was the first picture that you sent me?
We don't need to talk about that.
No, we won't talk about that.
Anyways, the first picture that he sent me, I was over at Sydney's house, and I was showing Sydney like the pictures. I was like, "Look, this is PJ. Look at the pictures he's sending me," and he's taking pictures in like this red famous, like this famous shirt, and like it was so big on him, and he had these glasses on and a hat and his braces. And then he started sending me more pictures of him in like different poses, and like with his best friend / brother Third was in the photos. If I could get into like my photo bucket, I
have the pictures too.
Oh my gosh, everything on there is hilarious. And in that time, after he sends me the pictures, the first picture I decide to send him, I'm with Sydney, is I'm in like these blue jean shorts and
bent over, thong out. What made you even?
I don't know.
What made you even send that?
I don't know.
You were with Sydney though?
Yes.
She's probably like, "Hey, send a picture of your butt."
Sydney took the picture. Of like my thumb hanging out, and it was.
I was like, okay. I'm 14 years old. Like, how do you hit puberty? I'm looking through my phone. I'm like, okay, didn't even have to work for it. Okay.
Oh gosh.
That's so funny.
But yeah, that was the first picture I decided to send him, and I don't know why. And mind you, I am at this age. I am probably the most prude girl that any guy would meet in high school. I just held myself at a really high standard, but when it came to PJ, things went out the window. Like, it's so weird. Like, I barely knew this guy, but I was so drawn to him. It was so weird. So time goes on, and we're hanging out, right?
I only have a couple. I have like flashes. Like, yeah. I remember.
Your
parents.
The first time we hung out, my dad drove me to your house, And I felt like
At
driving
Lariat?
Yes, on Lariat.
Yeah.
I felt like that was the longest drive ever, all the way to Happy Valley in 49th Avenue.
Yeah, but
It was so far.
Your parents would never let us, your parents were always like, you need parental supervision at all times.
Oh yeah, especially with the boyfriend that I had during my freshman and beginning of my sophomore year. My parents would never let me hang out with any boyfriends without parent supervision, and if I was going over to his house, she would call his mom to make sure that she was there.
Yeah.
So when it came to PJ, it was literally a switch.
Not at first though.
It
At
was-
first, because I remember your dad and your mom. I remember talking to your mom, and your mom would be like, "So."
But they weren't hesitant about it at all.
No, but they made sure that
Absolutely, they always made sure.
You got dropped off.
transition was
Somebody from the car had to the front doorstep had to be side by side with you, walking you to the door, and then from inside, nobody we weren't allowed to be by ourselves or go up to my room or anything like that.
And I remember the first time I went up to your room too, but we'll get there.
I was like,
It was so cute. I loved seeing his room. It was so cute. But the first time I get dropped off, my dad, he was just like, how dads are. They give you the rundown of, hey, respect yourself. I want you to be careful. And no means no. And I was like, okay, Dad, okay. I'm not like that. I had a really good head on my shoulders. So getting over to your house, I remember just hanging out, and I was so nervous. And
"Hey, what are we gonna do?"
it was funny because the time that we came over, you were telling me that Jordan was on her way home.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Jordan was on her way home. We were in the kitchen, and your mom was pouring out milk. I remember this. Your mom was pouring out old milk.
Were you there?
I wasn't there when that video happened,
Oh,
but she was just pouring out old milk, and she was like, PJ, come do this. And I remember your backyard was so blank. You had
there's
nothing
nothing
in your
back
backyard.
there.
It was all dirt. But you gave me the tour of the house, and it was such a cute house. And where we kind of ended up was in the loft because it had no doors, but we wanted some type of privacy, I guess, just away from Mom. So we went up to the loft and we put on TV, and instantly, as soon as PJ turned on the TV, I sat down on the couch, and all of a sudden he's sitting on the arm of the couch on the same side as me, and all of a sudden he leans in to try and kiss me, and I was like, no! I totally pulled away. I was so scared.
Wait a minute, because that happened downstairs too after that, right? Because I remember being downstairs and we were wrestling and stuff, and I was trying to kiss you.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
No, because this is what happened is I got we were wrestling, and then we were on the couch and we looked at each other, and you still do this to me. This is the one thing that's a pin in the side of my hip that you do to me all the time. I'll look at you, or this is what happened is I looked at you and I went to go in for the kiss, and you were like, no, stop, and we're trying to push me back, and then I was trying to go a little bit harder, and you're like, no, stop.
And I get strong.
And then you get strong.
He doesn't realize my strength.
And then your hand is on my neck, and I'm like, kiss me. And you just wouldn't let it happen, and then
And then I remember Jordan coming home, and it was a huge commotion because it wasn't just her that walked through the door. I remember someone else was there with her.
It was probably Brian, her bodyguard.
It was so much, and I remember her coming upstairs, and she was in a rush, and I just remember meeting her really quick.
She was in a big time rush.
I don't know, but she was like, oh my gosh, hi, you're really, really pretty, but I have to go and change. I was like, oh, thanks, so nice to meet you. I remember that. But
how about the time though after that going to Avenida?
Oh yeah, and then they moved. Well, hold on before we go there. So
Wet and Wild.
Oh my gosh. So, well, it wasn't Wet n Wild.
Or
It
it
was
was
Water
Waterworld,
World at the
yeah.
time.
You got your little Sophie shorts on. You're like, no, I don't want to wear my bikini. I want to wear my
Yeah.
Sophie shorts. I was like, nah, like, come on, take them off.
Yeah, so that was our summer. That was during the summer. And then I also, during that time in the summertime, PJ invited me to go to the American Idol concert tour.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, so, but I gotta go shopping before we go. And it was me, you, and Third. And I remember going, and I was telling PJ, I was like, oh, let's go to PacSun. And he's like, okay, yeah, I like that store. And then I started trying on clothes, and I was showing him like all my jeans and stuff like that I was trying on. He's like, oh, I really like those. And I was like, so do I. And he's like, okay, let's get them. And I was like, huh? And he's like, I'll buy them for you. And I was like, okay. And so he bought me a pair of jeans, and then after he got his outfit, we all got changed at the mall. I changed in, I think it was the back of Third's car with the boys obviously in front of the car. They weren't inside. But I changed, and they all got back in the car, and then we stopped at Fuddruckers and got burgers before we went. That was our dinner. And obviously, PJ was a gentleman, and he paid. He was so sweet. Even at the age of 14, he was so sweet. And he didn't have to. I mean, what 14-year-old does that?
What 14-year-old got money like that? You know what I'm saying?
So
From mom and dad, thank you.
So after dinner, we started heading down towards Westgate, I think it was.
Yeah.
Where the American Idol tour was, and we watched the tour, or the concert, and I got to meet some of his family members. We took pictures. I was kind of like the odd one to the side, kind of observing. So that's what I remember, and then some other stuff happened.
So there was that, but I think the one defining moment that happened at the beginning stages of our relationship was where were we? We were at McDonald's. We were somewhere. We were at McDonald's, or we were somewhere, and we walked in the rain to my grandparents' house. Or
No,
we were
your
at my grandparents' house, and then we
yes.
walked somewhere to
Yeah.
McDonald's or something like that.
Yeah, we walked
And then-
to GCC North.
Okay,
Walked
and then on our way back, yeah, you're right. And then
'Cause
on
then
our
it
way,
started- yeah,
then it
'cause it
started to
started
rain,
raining.
and then
Yeah.
on our way back, we went to my grandparents' house, and I remember the
Oh.
very first time that Papa like met you, and he was like,
Yep,
I was
that
like,
the first time
I was
Papa
like,
met
Papa,
me.
this is Jessica. Jessica, this is my grandfather, and he was like, oh, it's so nice to meet you. You're so gorgeous. This and that, and I remember him pulling me off to the side, and he's like, PJ, all right, I want to tell you something. You gotta listen here. Listen here. Are you listening? And I said, yeah, Grandpa, I'm listening. He's like, all right. He's like, you know she's out of your league, right? And I was just like, well, I guess I'll take that as a backward compliment. And he's like, no, she's out of your league. Do everything you can to keep her. And at 14, you don't really think about it of like, well, this isn't long term. This is just whatever.
It was a summer fling.
It was a summer fling, and
It really was.
but I think that was the beginning of understanding wise words and how, like when we were young, we didn't understand the prayers that our parents had for our significant other.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 11 years old, driving down 67th, my mom specifically prayed. She was just like, I'm praying for your future wife.
Yeah.
And then I meet you 3 or 4 years later, and then it turns into this relationship and stuff. So I don't know, it was just really, really cool.
So the summer goes on.
You don't have to speed me up. I'm not trying to speed up on things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't. It's like whatever comes to.
Okay, so we just throw up. That's what she wants. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Anyways,
Yeah.
so moving on, Sherry.
Under the table, she did this for me to hurry up. By the way,
come on.
Like no,
Spit it out.
but that's a part of it. Is like you have to talk about those moments and what they mean, because just talking about the timeline doesn't mean anything. It's the nuggets that are in there. Like that was literally the defining moment where I was like, okay, my grandpa is really wise. He said for me to do everything I can to keep her, and then 2 months later I break up with you and didn't listen to him.
I know.
You know?
And it was such a crazy summer. It was so fun. It was the best 2 months I think I've ever spent. Like
it was long too.
It was so long.
It's like that summer.
I remember your mom always coming to pick me up, and she was like, I remember this one time she picked me up in her black Armada.
Armada, yeah.
And she's like, so what are you guys gonna do? And I was like, I don't know, I guess just hang out and I guess go for a walk. And she's like, you guys can wash my car.
Did you wash your car?
No, we didn't wash our car.
Jeez.
But she was like, yeah, you guys can wash my car. And I brought my bathing suit and everything, and we were like, oh, how about we just go to Waterworld? So we went to Waterworld and stuff, and we went on walks all the time, and man.
And how it ended was I was going into high school.
Yeah.
And I thought at that time the best thing for me was to be a man, and I needed to go do my thing and fly and let loose. And so I texted Jessica and was just like, you know, I'm going into high school and I don't want to be in a relationship. And I said, this is it. And then that was the it.
And I said, okay. And it was a heartbreak for me, because that was the first time in forever, never ever, first time, allowing, being able to somewhat open up to somebody, and my parents totally being okay. And that's what made it so hard on me, was because my parents were so loving of you and your family, and they were so laid back because they really got to know PJ's character, and they were just like, yeah, sure, whatever you want to do. If you want to go, we'll take you, or have Jody come get you, or Philippe will come get you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was so hard. But after he texted me on my side, when I saw that, and I was like, okay, I was totally fine. And then all of a sudden, tears come running down my face, and I'm crying so loud. My mom's at work, my dad was working, and I remember my brother coming into my room and just holding me. And he was just like, it's okay, what happened? And I said, PJ broke up with me. And he was like, it's okay, sis, it's okay. And he's just holding me, literally holding me and rocking me. And I'm snotty nose, crying. And it was hard, but we went our own ways, and I had, basketball coming up, and
I had football coming up.
So it was good to have those distractions. And I got back into seeing my friends, and basketball really took over. And then club basketball really took over.
And all of life
consumed my life.
Took over. So I think, yeah, so that's that's fate. That's part one of the beginning of our relationship, and then
it
goes into high school.
High school. It was a 2.5 hour
that's a whole hour-long episode. Yeah. We'll save that for next time. So, but for now, that was the beginning of our journey for the first 2.5 months of our relationship starting out. So, stay tuned.